Good morning, everyone. This is Mike O'Malley here with the Hurricane Outlook and discussion for May 31st, 2020, recorded around 9:40 a.m. Eastern Time. This is a special outlook regarding Tropical Storm Amanda, which has formed in the Eastern Pacific and made landfall to the south of El Salvador. And we're also watching an area of interest here in the Gulf of Mexico, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. This is the latest sea surface temperature anomalies that were updated on the 29th of May. Again, this is kind of the area of interest right now throughout the next few days. Again, Amanda formed right here just off the coast of El Salvador and Guatemala. This is now expected to continue to move inland over the next several days and pose a significant rainfall threat to portions of Central America, including Belize City here and portions of the Yucatan Peninsula before finally crossing over here in through the Gulf of Mexico over the next several days or so. If we take a look here at the actual sea surface temperatures, this was updated as of 1 o'clock this morning from tropicaltidbits.com. Again, this is the area of interest really over the next several days or so. Again, water temperatures here where Amanda formed are actually in the upper end of the distribution here, roughly about 90 degrees Fahrenheit or so, and then that kind of translates well here into the Gulf of Mexico, with now all of the Gulf pretty much being very supportive of tropical cyclone formation in the sense for sea surface temperatures. This whole area is running about 27 to 29 degrees Celsius, so the 26 degrees Celsius is what you need for tropical cyclone formation. We're now above that for about 27 to 29 Celsius across that region. So again, very important to understand that the formation chances are certainly going up here in the portions of the southern Gulf of Mexico here. And if we take a look at the upper ocean heat content, again, this is kind of one of the big determining factors of how strong could a system be. One of the many factors that we actually look at. Again, this is the upper ocean heat content valid as of this morning. Again, the higher you go up in the scale towards the reds, and the oranges, and the greens here, the higher the much warmer water at depth you're getting. There's a lot of warm water at depth. And certainly here in the southern part of the Bay of Campeche, there is some warmer water at depth. Now, again, it isn't as much out here as like in the Caribbean, but with these early June-ish storms, as tomorrow is now the start of the official hurricane season. And again, we could see a system try to form right on time here and move into the Gulf of Mexico, depending on where it might go. Now, taking a look here at Tropical Storm Amanda, again, Amanda formed overnight. Maximum sustained winds are now 40 miles per hour, about 1,003 millibars. Tropical storm warnings remain in effect for Guatemala and El Salvador, the entire coastlines there. This is expected over the next several days to lift in through Central America, south and west of Belize, and then it is expected to make its way in here to the southern Bay of Campeche in the southern Gulf of Mexico over the next several days or so. The National Hurricane Center has currently not designated this as an invest quite yet, but we do have model runs coming in from this because this is the same energy left over from Tropical Storm Amanda with a 50% chance of formation down here in the southern Bay of Campeche and Gulf of Mexico over the next 5 days or so. And again, for reference, this is the actual NHC forecast over the next several days. Expected to be post-tropical, but could dump a lot of rainfall over this area during the next several days or so as this moves generally northward through Mexico, Belize, and Guatemala over the next several days or so, making landfall just away from El Salvador and Guatemala. Now, taking a look at the vertical wind shear, again, this is the wind shear that we're looking at here. Again, right now, right over our system is actually looking pretty healthy on satellite this morning. And the wind shear at about 7 o'clock this morning wasn't all that prevalent around the system, but if you look just to its north, there's a lot of strong vertical wind shear. But again, this large anticyclone that's kind of moving across the area and just up to the north will continue to erode a lot of this wind shear over the next several days or so. And for that reason, there is a decent likelihood that something is going to try to gather here in the southern Gulf here in the southern Bay of Campeche over the next several days. And if we take a look at our 850 millibar vorticity again, you would expect a tropical storm to actually look a lot better. This is for reference is the remnants of Invest 92L out here to the east of Bermuda. Again, this is kind of our leftover energy. This is our energy associated with Tropical Storm Amanda, with Amanda being right about in here. And those remnants over the next several days are going to try to consolidate around this area here in the southern Gulf, in southern Bay of Campeche. and eventually we could see some potential United States land impacts. Again, this is the European track for the next 7 days or so, and all of these are the different ensemble guidances here. And again, most models are suggesting that something does form here in the southern Bay of Campeche and then eventually moves up here and could impact portions of the Gulf Coast of the United States of America. So again, there is a potential now for some land impacts to occur. Now, what land impacts, if any, to the United States directly is, we can't say that for sure. And if we take a look here just at another look here, again, this is the next 7 days. It's just the same map, but a little bit wider angle here, but zoomed in a little bit. Again, most of the ensemble guidances keep it weak down in this area and then have it getting stronger out here in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, again, like I did say, this area is supportive of tropical cyclone formation. The upper ocean heat content is certainly there. Of course, you're working within the Gulf of Mexico, which is always warm enough this time of the year now to support tropical cyclones. So again, it's very interesting to watch how this evolves over the next several days. Again, Amanda right now is located roughly in through about here, and over the next several days or so, it's going to generally move off towards the north here, and eventually something is going to try to consolidate in this area and maybe, just maybe, might move off towards the north. Again, right now there is no significant land impacts for portions of the Gulf Coast of the United States, but it is something to watch. If you live anywhere along the Gulf Coast, from Florida all the way through Texas, now's your time to start watching. Again, this is not to alarm anyone. We don't want anyone to be alarmed, but we want people to be informed. And, the hurricane season does start tomorrow, so it doesn't hurt to start paying attention anyway, as we're going to be casually getting ourselves into more and more favorable environments for tropical cyclones to form. Again, this area right in through here is where we're going to be watching over the next several days. Right now, kind of concentrated here in the southern Bay of Campeche and the southern Gulf of Mexico. The water temperature is supported. The upper ocean heat content does support a tropical system. The vertical wind shear is still a little too high. But again, if we can get a system here that does eventually cross over like currently expected, and then this stays, and very important that this stays over open waters here, this has a 50-50 shot of becoming a tropical cyclone within the next 5 days or so, and a 40% over the next 2 days or so. So again, very important to watch. Again, the key takeaways is Amanda has formed in the Eastern Pacific, likely to bring very heavy rainfall to portions of Guatemala, Belize, and El Salvador. This is expected to eventually cross over now into the Gulf of Mexico and the southern Bay of Campeche. Speaking of there, again, 50% chance of formation over the next 5 days, as the remnants of Amanda will eventually cross over and try to consolidate once again here in the southern Bay of Campeche and the Gulf of Mexico. If you live anywhere along the Gulf Coast here, in any of the Gulf Coast states, now's your time to start paying attention as we naturally head towards hurricane season tomorrow. I will be back with a full video forecast update later this afternoon. In lieu of that, hope you all have a great rest of your morning and early afternoon, and I will see you guys back here later this afternoon.